Welcome to another episode of Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. I am Sean Farrell. God is great all the time. All the time, God is great. Jesus Christ is Lord. Amen. Let's get right to it. I'm repping Scottie Pippen today. Real show or story? Real show or story? It was back in 2011, I believe, where I walked into a sporting apparel store, and they had a box of water damaged jerseys. From a flood that happened on the East Coast, I believe. And so they were selling the jerseys at a very discounted price. And I just so happened to see this Scottie Pippen NBA Finals jersey in there, which I got at a very, very generous price. I kid you not. Don't remember how much it was, but I got it at a very generous price. Okay, so the worst teams in the NBA. The 1972-73 Philadelphia 76ers. Actually, the Charlotte Bobcats hold the record for the worst record in NBA history. But the previous honors went to the 1972-73 Philadelphia 76ers, okay? They were coached by a guy named Roy Rubin, who went 4-47. Then Kevin Lockery took over, Michael Jordan's first coach in the NBA. They were taken over by Kevin Lockery. He went 5-26, okay? And the Philadelphia 76ers, they lost their first 15 games of the season, 0-15. Some of their biggest losses was a 139-91 loss to the New York Knicks, a 128-90 loss to the Lakers, and to the Knicks again, a 120-94 loss to the New York Knicks. And so, they were pretty pathetic, to say the least. If I'm not mistaken, they had Hal Greer on that team, who was in his final year. Hal Greer, future Hall of Famer Hal Greer. And I believe Doug Collins was on that team, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Also, the 1992-93 Dallas Mavericks, I would put into there. They went 11-71 the 1992-93 season. They had losing streaks of 12, 15, and 19 games. And the 1993-94 Dallas Mavericks weren't all that better too. They finished 13-69. Despite the fact they had Jamal Mashburn and Jim Jackson. They had losing streaks of 20, 16, and 17. And so, they were pretty bad. I would also throw the 97-98 Denver Nuggets in there, who had an 11-71 record, same as the Dallas Mavericks. I would throw the 1986-87 LA Clippers in there, which I'm about to get to in a second. I would say the early 90s, I would say the early 2000s Bulls, post-Jordan, they pretty much stunk. Those are just some of the worst NBA teams that I can think of. Maybe you all out there have some of your worst NBA teams in history. I want to move on to the sad history of the Clippers. Not talking about today's Clippers. I'm talking about the Clippers from the 80s on the way up to midway 2000s. The Clippers are actually pretty good now. Clippers are actually pretty damn good. But yeah, I don't think they made the playoffs from the time they moved to San Diego up until 1991-92 when Larry Brown took them to the playoffs. Yeah. So in 1987, 86, 87, they were 12-70. Okay. And they were coached by Don Chaney, who became coach of the year for the Houston Rockets. Yeah, that Don Chaney. And also had coaching stints with the Knicks, the Pistons. And but he was coach of one of the worst teams in NBA history. LA Clippers, 12-70, 86-87 season. And so this is just how pathetic the Clippers were. I'm sorry. After 1987, they went 17-65 in 1988, 21-61 in 1989, 30-52 in 1990, and then 31-51 in 1991. That was the year they drafted Bo Kimball. Yeah. They drafted Lloyd Vault. Yeah. They hired a guy named Mike Schuler, who I believe was taking over for Gene Shue, if I'm not mistaken. Gene Shue coached the Clippers in 90. Who took over, yeah. If memory serves me correct, it was Gene Shue who coached the Clippers in 89-90. Or maybe Don Casey. Okay, but Mike Schuler was the coach for the 90-91 LA Clippers. And I remember him saying, and I remember reading somewhere where he said, our motto is, we plan to play in May. Yeah, you finished 31-51 that year. Yeah. Yeah, so you didn't even, so you didn't play. Yeah, so that motto failed. Did not come to fruition because the Clippers were still the Clippers. They made the playoffs in 92. In 1992. They made the playoffs in 1993. But in 1993-94, they became the Clippers, and they finished 27-55. And in 1994-95, just like the Philadelphia 76ers of 72-73, they lost their first 15 games and finished 17-65. They finished 29-53 in 1996, 36-46 in 1997. They made the playoffs that year, and they were kicked out by the Utah Jazz in 3 straight games. 17-65 in 1998, then the lockout year. In 1998-99, they finished 9-41. Who they were coached by Chris Ford. And in 2000, they finished 15-67. Chris Ford was fired during the season, and they ended up being coached by a guy named Jim Tide for the rest of that season. Alvin Gentry was hired for the 2001 campaign, and they finished 31-51 that year. They actually improved to 39-43 in 2001, 2002. Okay. But they finished 29-53 the following year, 2002, 2003. And so, the Clippers were pretty much a joke. Not like, not like they are now. But, and I was thinking about this. Has any team had more unrememberable players than the LA Clippers? Okay. Most people don't even know that Bo Kimball even played for the LA Clippers. Jeff Martin, they had a guy by the name of Jeff Martin, played 2 years for the LA Clippers. There was a guy by the name of Ken Bannister, played 3 years for the Clippers. Shaquille O'Neal once referred to Keith Kloss, who played for the LA Clippers, as the great Keith Kloss, if you know what I mean. Man. Yeah, so Michael Young of Phi Slam Jamma. Y'all remember Michael Young, University of Houston, Phi Slam Jamma. He spent some time with the Clippers, believe it or not. He spent some time with the LA Clippers. Tony Brown, Leonard Copeland. You may ask, who are they? You probably don't even know. You got to be a real hardcore NBA junkie to know. I collect basketball cards, okay? So, I know these players play for the LA Clippers by looking at my basketball cards routinely, okay? The Clippers had a guy by the name of David Rivers play for them. You're asking, who's David Rivers? He actually played for the Lakers his rookie season. And when Magic Johnson hurt his hamstring in the finals, he filled in. If you don't remember, he was going for a three-pointer to tie the game. In Game 3 of the 1989 NBA Finals, he was going for a three-pointer, and his shot got blocked by Joe Dumars. And that was pretty much a series right there. But I recall a story that Dominique Wilkins was telling, okay? I recall a story Dominique Wilkins was telling when he played for the Los Angeles Clippers. He got traded from Atlanta to the Clippers midway through the 93-94 season, okay? And Dominique Wilkins was telling this story, okay? The Clippers had a guy on the team by the name of Randy Woods, who nobody remembers, not surprising. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, okay? Anyway. So, Dominique Wilkins was in the locker room, okay? He was in the locker room. And Randy Woods had just walked into the locker room. And Randy Woods walked into the locker room and he said, "Hey, ball boy." And Dominique Wilkins said, "Hey, ball boy or equipment guy, can you give me a pair of socks?" And Randy Woods turned around and said, "Hey, I'm not no ball boy our equipment manager, I actually play on his team. Dominique Wilkins had never seen him play. Dominique Wilkins had never seen Randy Woods play. So that's what I kind of mean when I say, have there been more unrecognizable players who play for the LA Clippers? Okay. Dominique Wilkins had never seen Randy Woods play. No. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in to Throwing It Back with Sean Farrell. Gonna be bringing y'all more content. Peace out, y'all. See, that's the second time I done messed up. Anyway, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.